is I have all 4 ways to make 3. Does this make sense? You can have just 3, or you can have 2 and 1, or you can have 1 and 2, or you can have 1 and 1 and 1. Are we okay with that? So the question that I'd like to answer is, how many ways can you make 10? And I think this is a hard question. So maybe you could start working on it for a couple minutes and we can see what kind of progress you can make on it, and then maybe talk a little bit about some ideas about how to organize work and figure out how many ways there are to make 10. Okay? Yes? So if the example doesn't clarify enough what we mean by making a number, then ask some questions. So only addition, yes. What other questions would there be? Questions about what the question is? Do you understand what we're trying to do? There's 4 ways to make 3. How many ways are there to make 10? No, look at the 4th way to make 3, though. Yeah. Look at the 4th way to make 3. What is this explaining?
No, but it said how many ways. So think about it. You could probably do it. I think that's doable.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I know you think all of your ways. It doesn't really just like, good start.
Seems like more numbers at the beginning.
Yeah.
Pretty good. I wonder if there are ways to predict how many ways those get these groups. So now you can do ones like this, except starting with 2.
Yeah.
Oh, not for 10. For 10 you're going to do it for half a year, I guess. So basically the idea is you just did 3 of the board, try 4, try 5, find the pattern, generalize, and then remains try to prove that it works. Right now for 4.
That's what I do.
Always start with 1 point. 4 equals 4 is perceived as a possible composition. Yeah. That's another.
So we just already have that here.
Yes.
So now
the moment, but then you might have some kind of problems. Basically, the idea is that's the main thing. Find the pattern. Because if you just write directly, breaking all possible ways for 10, I mean, you can work half a year.
I can write a pair or any other. Okay, so is that something maybe you need to consider when you start counting how many ways that are?
So there's an explanation for 3 or an example for 3 up there. And then figure out the similar answer for 2.
Just too many of them. When you think about it, you just get to break up the numbers.
It's gonna be addition.
There are how many ways of
It's gonna be addition right now.
Right. Number 4. Break up all possible ways. Compositions, those things are called compositions.
Therefore, the sum is the same.
And let's see how the pattern works with that. We just write down the rate.
Counting 1 plus 2. You did that.
Yes, she did.
Yes, I would have. I don't know when someone's gonna write. Okay. So what is that?
I'm trying to make sure that can you do it if you got them all?
How's this looking?
Sit here.
Okay, so I'm gonna shuffle on the bottom.
But I think you have to do your 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 2. That's different. We're 70. Work away off the word.
So how do you know there's?
Oh, no, it's
To show another way that you can make it.
Four.
Start using
Against the
Just a moment, I'm taking the table.
let's count.
Can you take a chair?
I can give you more help, any amount of help you need.
That's a good job.
No, I can tell you that, but I can tell you.
Make three, by addition of it numbers.
There's an example for you right up here on the board. The questions were about.
Well, already, when I look at how he started, it's 2 plus 1 and 1 plus 2. So I can be our Alright, so we have
So tell me, that's right. Figure out the 1 for 5 and you'll see the pattern.
So you can use what about bases on the slide? What about kind of smaller stuff that has a few lines and some not? It seems to me like what you got to do is get all the way to 2 numbers. And here you have all the ways to have 1 and 1 unseparate number. So that at least you like covers all possibilities.
So, the question is, so how do you exploit that pattern? Figure it out for, let's say, 4, or write it as 4 things, write it as 5. So let's think.
Yeah, here we were adding lots of.
Well, then maybe something simpler might develop your pattern a little bit more. When we get to the number 5. Or you might want to try that and see, you know, pattern, try to use that to do 10. Instead of having to do all of them. So that's
There's so many possibilities.
I started, but
We have to tell them. Kind of the same way. Right.
So let's see. So it doesn't matter what we're doing. You go for 2 numbers and you go for 3.
Like, is there some way you can organize the list? So that you can see, so to me, like, how will I know? If there's some miss, or even if you have one in there twice. So like, I kind of see these 3 sort of go together, right? And these 4 sort of go together, and these 3 sort of go together. How will you know if you found every possible group?
Yeah, I know they're together.
You might say, let's say within this, or even within this, like, how do we know we're done? Right here, so there's these 3, there's this one kind of goes to this one, this pattern, this pattern, this pattern. I feel pretty organized. But with 5,
I know, I'm reading it all.
I start to worry about things I see why there's 1 of these, there's 2 of these, there's 3 of these, there's 1 of these, there's 4 of these, there's 3 of these. That makes sense. But then, so this would be all patterns. How will we know if we have all patterns? So you need some way to organize it. Like, if there's a 5, that's certainly the only pattern. Right? If there's a 4, that's certainly the only pattern. That's the next pattern. Why? There's no other way to do So you can organize it. You can kind of organize it in some way so you can find.
That's what you're doing.
So then you don't have to
There's 2 levels, so that's really cool.
Okay, so 3 it's either this or this. With 2, you have this pattern and this pattern. I guess I'm thinking 3, 2,
3 can be a 1.
There can be 2s, there can be 3 2s, because that'd be too much. And then 4 2s, gotta be all 1, so now I need some. Okay, I'd like to have everybody pause for just a minute here and start to see if we can share some different ideas that people have about how to organize it. Because I think we're finding there's a lot of ways to make 10, right? Does anybody have more than 10 ways?
Yes.
Does anybody have more than 20 ways? Does anybody have more than 50 ways? Does anybody have more than 100 ways? Does anybody have more than 500 ways? There's a lot of ways. I don't know how many, but nobody's got 500 yet. But I don't know. So when there's so many ways, we need to have some kind of way of organizing it. And I think if you look at this list, you'll see a couple different ideas about how I organize this short list. How could you organize it? Like, what if I wanted to start finding out all the ways to make 4? Well, that might be too hard. Maybe I'll do ways to make 2. Wait, that might be too hard. Maybe I'll do ways to make 1. Okay, that one I think I can do. Right? Can we do all the ways to make 1? How can you make 1?
1.
Yeah. No zeros allowed. Yes? 1. Any other ways? Yes?
10 minus 9.
Minus? That's not allowed. Any other ways?
No.
No. Okay, I think we got it then. How about this one? Can we do this one? Who's got a way to make 2? Yes.
1 plus 1.
1 plus 1. Any other ways? Yes? 2. Any other ways? How do we know we're done? Yeah.
Because you make it down because like there's no other outcomes to go to.
Okay, but how do I know there aren't any others? Maybe it's so simple with 2 that it's just obvious that we're done. I don't know. Yeah?
Because you look at the highest number that you use.
The highest number I use 2.
Yeah.
I guess if I use a 2, there's only this way. What else do I do?
And then you see how many ways you can use that one. And so and how many ways you can make the remaining number that you need to make the number that you're aiming for.
Okay. That sounds good.
So there's only one of those and then 1.
So let's try making 4 and see if we can organize it in a way so we can know we got all of them. How are we going to do 4?
Start with 1.
What are you going to do first?
2 plus
2 plus 2, why is that first? Just because it's the first one you thought of? Okay, so we can do organizing later. 2 plus 2 is a way. Yes?
4.
How about 4? That's a way. Yes? 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. Yes? 3 plus 1. Yes?
1 plus 3.
1 plus 3. Yes?
1 plus 1 plus 2.
1 plus 1 plus 2. Yes?
2 plus 1 plus 1.
2 plus 1 plus 1. Okay, yes?
1 plus 2 plus 1.
1 plus 2 plus 1. I think at some point in this I'm going to get tired of writing plus signs and I'm going to get too lazy to write them, but so far I guess I'll keep writing. I'm pretty lazy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Are we done? How do I know I'm done? Can anyone think of a reason we could tell that this is all the ways? Maybe a way of organizing into groups, and then we can see, do we get all the groups, and in each group, do we get all the possibilities? Yeah?
We can keep going and see it if we don't get 4 of them, then we're done.
What do you mean?
Get 5 or something, like,
Yeah, I certainly can't use any 5s here, right?
yeah, if we keep going.
So no 5s allowed if I'm making 4. How could I organize these answers in a way that would help me check whether I'm done or whether there are more? Yes?
You can make the 4 the highest. And
Okay,
then,
4 could, so we'll do the same thing but in a different order. 4 could be the highest.
And then 3 plus 1 and 1 plus 3.
3 plus 1 and 1 plus 3.
And then 2 plus 2.
Why does that come next?
Or 3 plus 1 plus 1 because, no, 2 plus 2 because,
2 plus 2 should be next.
I think, yeah.
Okay, why though? I don't quite understand.
Because it's the you see the highest number and that we can use and then
Okay, so we can organize by biggest number. So if I organize by biggest number, I have the group, I have the 4s, there's only one of those. I have the 3s, looks like there's 2 of those. Then what?
and then 2 plus 2 and then 1 and then all the 1 plus 1 plus 2 and 2 plus 1 plus 1.
Then 2 plus 2, and then all the ones with 2s and 1s mixed.
And
That's
then,
those.
and then the 1 plus 1 plus 1.
And then all 1s. So that's one way of organizing it. I can organize it by biggest. What else would you say would be a way to organize? Yeah.
Smallest.
Organized by smallest. That's interesting. I think if I organize by smallest, it seems like there's going to be too many of the ways we're going to have 1s in them, so that part of the list is going to get really big. Right? So if we organize it by smallest. the smallest number is a 4, then I have 4. If the smallest number is a 3, that's not possible, right? So if I use a 3, then I have to have a 1 to make 4. So I can't have 3 as the smallest number. If the smallest number is a 2, I can do that. And if the smallest number is a 1, then I have everything else. That's a lot of things. It might get hard to keep track of that, especially when I'm trying to get all the way up to 10.
Everything else.
How about other ways of organizing? Yeah.
I think what you should do is you should go by how many digits is in each equation.
How many numbers I use.
Yeah.
So that's another way to organize, is by how many. So then we have things that use just one number. Then we have things that use two numbers. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So two numbers is 3 plus 1, and 1 plus 3, and 2 plus 2. I'm not sure that's the best order to organize those in, but that's okay. And there's ways with 3 numbers, 2 plus 1 plus 1, 1 plus 2 plus 1, 1 plus 1 plus 2, and 4 numbers. That's an interesting way to organize it.
It's almost the same.
It's almost just this line moved one space, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I had one other idea too, just to add to our collection. So I got really lazy and I wrote them without plus signs. And then I put them in order. Well, this isn't quite in order yet. I put them in order like this. Wait, what am I doing? Like this. How are those organized? Yeah.
The greatest number.
The greatest number, because this looks like 121, right? Is it really 121?
No.
What is it really?
1 plus 2 plus
It's really 1
1.
plus 2 plus 1, but I'm lazy. But I organized them pretending that these were like 1-digit numbers, 2-digit numbers, 3-digit numbers, 4-digit numbers. Wait a minute, isn't that kind of the same as this? Because certainly all the 2-digit numbers are going to come before all the 3-digit numbers, right?
Yes.
So maybe my way of organizing it like this isn't really new. Maybe it's just another way of saying this same answer. Okay, I have one more way that I tried. Let me see if I can make this work. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2. 1, 3. No, 1, 2, 1. 1, 3. Oh, that looks good. 2, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 1, 4. Now how did I put them in order? Yeah, what do you think I'm doing here?
It's kind of like alphabetical order.
Kind of like alphabetical order. A would be the first, and then AAB, ABA. Is this making sense? We think of them like letters. That would be the first word in the dictionary.
Air conditioning.
So that would be my list organized alphabetically.
Yeah. Ow.
Okay. And then I guess the groups would be if the things that start with A, right? I got the sections of my dictionary, right? Little tabs you flip to in your dictionary. Things that start with A, B, C, D. They can start with 1, 2, 3, 4. So when we're trying to make 10, I guess I'm going to give 2 suggestions and then let you have a lot more time to work. One is that you should pick one of these kinds of ways of organizing and try to use it to help you find the pattern. And then my second idea would be that you should look at some of these smaller examples and look for patterns, because with 10, there might be so many ways that the list would get too long to manage. So if you do some smaller examples and look for patterns, you might be able to figure out something about how many ways there are to make 10. Okay, I've talked plenty, so let's see what we can figure out about patterns that would work here. Yes? Okay. 190 ways. That's pretty amazing. So how will you know how will you use maybe some of these ideas to help you organize and find whether you got them all or if there's other ways to find more? So it's like this is things that have 3 numbers and start with 1. And then did you do the same thing you were doing about counting ways of rearranging these, or did you? Because now wait, you're counting too much, because here you have 1 plus 6 plus 3. And then here you have 3 plus 1 plus 6, so those the same or different, or did you count ways of rearranging this and ways of rearranging this, or what? I'm not sure. So how many did you count this as, I guess? 6, but then that means this is the same 6 again. Now it's going to get tricky. Or maybe just have well, I don't know, it's hard to figure out which one you duplicates, but maybe just have a rule that when you write them like this, you have to only write them in, say, increasing order. So you would write 1 plus 6 plus 3, 1 plus 3 plus 6, and count 6 times.
You see?
And that way you make
On
sure
the
you
one hand, you have a guess, right? On the other hand, how do you make sure? You have to find, yeah, but basically, you see, you're saying that you take the next number.
10 has a lot of ways. So I want to try some smaller numbers first and look for patterns.
So that's a feeling, so you're not certain. So how to make it certain? I mean, we call it proof, right? But if you keep trying, how do you know that the pattern keeps working forever, right? So you have to find a way to prove it, to convince yourself that it is really true forever. Like if you take 1,000,000, you're going to have, like, for C, you have 2, right? So 3 months. For 4, you have 2 cube, that's 2 to the power 4 months. So you have 2 to the 4, so that's 5 minus 1. So for 1,000,000, you have 2 to the power 1,000,000 minus 1. Or do you not?
Right.
Yeah.
So the point is to figure out how to convince yourself. The proof is nothing but to convince yourself and your peers that the pattern continues working forever. So if you want to think about it, we want to give you a hint.
I still don't understand. So what you told me was that worked for these 4 examples. And they said, and therefore it always works, but I don't get it. And therefore it also works. How do you know it just didn't?
So you can get all these 4 examples. You can take all these plus 1 of these. So that doubles. And then
Okay. So they will reach that more on figure out.
well, now you should be able to figure it out.
Right, what about that? You take a really long
I think that's
time.
what you do.
So, you see, there are 2 pieces. First of all, just to start writing things down without piecing anything, you need a way to organize them. Then you get to know.
She just said she realized something else.
Okay.
You realize something else? The idea is to have every single Wait, so. Yeah.
So what you're saying is you can find these same 2 things in here, and you can find these same 4 things in here.
Yeah, except that it has a lot of beginning.
So basically,
That's very cool. So that means you can write down 8 things here right away. But then there's going to be more things after that. So now that's the next question.
Yes, we plug in these
4?
Yeah, maybe
So is there a way you can construct, I guess the question is, just like you can construct these 4 out of these 4, can you construct these 4 out of these 4 also in another way? Just like bring these 2 and find them here, can you find these 2?
That's a different way of thinking about it. So why does that always work? That's usually why math works, right? Because it's awesome.
But
How do you know?
How many numbers?
How come?
so you did all the ones with 2 numbers in it, and now you work on the ones with 3 numbers in it?
Same thing.
Alright. Two number ways.
So that makes it.
Okay.
This help you out.
So they broke. Yes. Committed it.
Well, but we have.
Also because it works.
But I didn't understand. Mom, this is so sweet.
So suppose I want to move from these are all positions of four.
So there's two ways to make it up to upward, right?
You're saying double this.
What is the plan?
Well, I'm
You
saying.
want to explain?
Explain the plan.
If you take this
Come on now.
and double this out, and it's going to count for.
Every time it's double.
Okay, wait a minute. I want to hear your doubling. So what? So why?
So if I was plus one.
That'll make 16 new ways to make
And
6.
then also,
Right, but then it doesn't, that can't be enough because it
they
brings
added, they made a digit.
So maybe looking at that, like, here's these 4 ways, right? And you said put a plus 1. Where are we putting the plus 1? What do you mean by next to? To the left of, to the right of? To the right of, okay. So that means, let's see, this 3 comes here, right?
It's not the same.
This 2 plus 1 goes here.
Right.
And this 1 plus 2 goes here, and this 1 goes
And
here.
eventually we.
So now we need to explain these.
So that what happens to each one?
So what's your pattern? If you had to tell me what this was, what's your pattern? What is it?
I don't understand double. This is 4, this is still 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. I've doubled. I have 4 here, I have 4 here.
That's the fire alarm. But that's the fire alarm right there.
No, because that one isn't blinking.
We have a blinking light and a much more obnoxious sound. I think that's the elevator being held open too long.
What would be your
The
pattern?
elevator.
Okay,
Okay.
so these are 4. And I say, here I double check that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I don't understand why there's 4, like, I understand why there's 4 circle ones, because the 4 circle ones here come from these. But I don't understand how you know there's 4 uncircled ones, except that you have to have 4 in your list. So if you're gonna have doubling, you have to have an explanation of how to produce these.
One more. Everything here.
How should we know why there should be 4
I have
uncircled?
these already. I already have those.
Those 4 turn into these 4 though, with your plus 1.
But then I need the original plus something plus something.
But these are ways to make 3.
Right.
Here we come with, so the question is, what about these other 4 ways?
I'll come back.
She's asking
Why
what's
should
the
there be the
pattern
same
in the
number
number of ways. So here there were 2 ways.
Okay, so think about that.
And I was interested to hear what they said.
Well, I said you just type on my pattern.
Right.
Did you see that pattern of what you just wrote?
4, 50 ways to make 5.
Yeah, well, that's what I divided in my
Right, but I'm saying, the way you did this here, you can see
So you said,
Then I do
or
all
by
that.
adding one or two.
Because that's what you're essentially doing, everything gets 1 more added.
Okay, you added all your ones to the right.
Right. This I was, my
So like this is this plus one.
This is right, he's like, so then.
Isn't that a nice feeling?
Right, so they would calculate those.
That's like a lot of ways. How will you know when you're done? How are you going
You get 4, it looks
It's the new number.
Like these first two, let's see how we're adding the line. Right around. Here. But then if you do that, you can do something. Because everything happens. Like you already got 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1 here. Okay, so it's like that symmetry here. You gotta do She found that the minus one. That's the pattern. So he said, how do you know? How do you know this is always going to help you? She hasn't found. Yeah. He said it didn't help you. So you had 1 to the right of each one, and you only accounted for 4 more, not half of it. Yes, you accounted for half of it. Maybe one of those. Okay, that's good. Yeah, so that's good. Great, there's perfect.
Yeah. What do you think?
All right. Well, that's plus 1 to the right, that's plus 1 to the right, but then these two we are having trouble finding. Actually added onto the end. Onto the end. I said you. Well, 1 plus 1 is 2. 1 plus 1 is 2.
So the one we already have. That's why we already did it, right? You can't use 1, so we already did all of them. Here we just did the plus 1. Here we actually created.
That middle number is
Because adding, you guys are only from exhausted, only went from 3 to 4, so you could never add anything more than 1 if you were just going 3 to 4.
Another way to think about it is, or even you start with 1, which is whatever is the rest, that's the way you do it.
Right.
Before you start solving it, we need to, yes, correct. That's all. We got 2 numbers now, we got 2 more ones. Why that was the pattern.
Just think about like what marbles.
right, so we're talking
4. Really long.
This gives me 2 plus 2. Changing 4 and so gives me 1 plus 1 plus 1.
Okay, let me interrupt for 1 more minute here and give one Nice idea, everybody? So, when we have these different ways of organizing, I think that each one of these ways of organizing leads to another question also. So, can we pick one? What's our favorite? So we have our 4 ways here. We can organize by smallest. Who thinks organizing by smallest is the best way? Yeah, organizing by biggest. Who thinks organizing by biggest is the best way? Nothing's very popular yet. We can organize by how many numbers we use. Who thinks that's the best way? I have at least 2 votes for that one. We could organize it. I guess really what this is like is organizing it by the first letter, by the first number. So organizing by the first number, 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s. How many people like organizing it by the first number? 2 votes, 3 votes, 4. Okay, looks like we're organizing by the first number. Okay. So I'm going to make a table like this to help me spot some patterns. And so over here are the totals 1 through 7. I only got up to 7 because I was running out of space then, but you should probably go up to 10. And for the first number I have 1 through 7. And if I look at organizing by the first number, I can see if I'm doing a total of 4, there's 4 ways with a 1 first. What else? How many ways are there if the total is 4 that have a 7 first? How many ways?
0.
0. Okay. Can somebody else help me out? How many ways if there's a 6 first? To make a total of 4. Starting with 6. 6 plus what other stuff is going to make 4? Yeah. Yeah, there's no ways to do it. How about if I start with 5? Yes. 0. Hey, you know what? Filling in this chart, I think it's only fair. I'll do half the work and you do half the work, right? So I'll fill in my half. Okay, and now you can fill in your half. Wait, let's fill in a couple more examples as soon as we're done. How about if I make 4 and I start with 4 as the first number? 1. What does that 1 mean? What am I saying here with this 1? What is it telling me? Yeah.
1 way.
1 way? What's the 1 way that you're talking about?
1 way to find 4.
1 way to find 4? But there's 8 ways to find 4. So what are you talking about exactly? What's the 1 way? Why am I putting 1 here and the other way is somewhere else in this chart?
That's the only way it'll be. Only out of 4.
If I start with a 4, the only way to do it is just 4. So this 1 way is 4. How many ways are there if I start with 3 to make 4?
1.
1. How come 1?
Because you do 3 plus 1.
If I start with 3,
Yeah,
I need a total of 4. What can I do?
3 plus 1.
I have to do plus 1. That's the only way to get a total of 4 if I start with 3.
Yeah.
Okay, and how about if I'm making 4 and I start with 2? Yeah. 2 ways? Why 2 ways? 2 plus 1 plus 1? And 2 plus 2. And so then, maybe I'll make another column over here.
Do it on the right.
I'll do it on the right? Okay. So this is what I'm making. And then over here, I'm going to put the total. 4 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0. Of course, if my table were bigger, I'd have more zeros, but luckily plus 0 is easy, right? How many ways are there total? 8. Okay, so if you like organizing it by what the first part is, you can make this chart, but if you wanted to, you could make a chart organizing it by how many parts, or by smallest part, or by biggest part. And if you think you've got the problem solved, then just try some of those other ways of organizing it, and try to find out not just the total number of ways for 10 that we want down here, but find out all the patterns that occur in this whole way of organizing things. Is this making sense? This is maybe a useful way to help you organize your information so that you can find some patterns and figure out an answer. Great, go.
Now go.
It looks to me like your solution already gave us a clue about the first column of that chart. Because you know how many things are going to start with 1. That much. Right, so maybe you can use your logic here to fill in that chart really fast, actually. I think you can use your logic and figure it out. Yeah, you should do it. Yeah, do you have enough paper? Okay, do you have more paper? Yeah, I mean, the finishing table is one way to get the answer coming in to make 10, which is what we did.
And actually, I give them out in a straight line.
So you're going to try that. Okay.
I remember I'm used to it. I like to do like the notes, right?
Easier.
Yeah, everywhere.
Okay, so this is the same organization. Okay, I get it.
Well, and then when we first started using these markers, like,
This is saying there's 6. There's one way that starts with 6. There's one way that starts with 5. And so on. It starts with 4. Now you're going to do 7. Why are you saying you can see that?
You can fill in this. I think you actually saw the first time. What are you trying to fill in now?
I'm done, but I was trying to figure out.
Oh, see, that's not how when I did this, it was when I organized it. It's this way, and so I saw the coefficients.
And that's a different pattern. It's hard to.
But I thought that's where she was going when she was trying to triangle.
So did you, I don't actually know what pattern it is on that. What pattern?
Well, I mean, you still use the power chart too. But within it, you get the binomial stage, you get the Pascal's triangle. It's 1, 3, 3, 1, and then the next 1, 2. And so it was really pretty. I like it. Yeah.
I've done that.
Yeah. It's actually supposed to change it to me with like, what's okay, how many ways can I do 2? How many ways can I do 3?
So what's the best you can change?
Yeah. Well, then also you gave us one of the accountability. Okay, so if you're making a 10, how many ways can I do this first number small? The other way came to really change the you know, like, well, which one? I love. He's like, we're in the math department, but I'm not. What if I can you? Or, you know, we could do wildly about kids are on fire. You're a 4-year-old. Just in looking for school. So it's very good.
That's the sum of the figures. All the other ones
This power to is the
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so. Right. Okay, that. Well, he just because he ran out of room.
Devoid of any social skills. Can't.
Perfect. Okay. And then your everybody's process is different. Your process, go for it.
I just want to make it.
That's going to be quite one of the first.
I might not even go.
That gets it.
You can go for 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 classes.
One way.
No, you're fine.
No, that's.
Now I'm not sure about all.
Right. And then the total column is saying, there's one way to make
I did it, but I don't think that's what we have to do. I think just like.
We figured out how many ways.
A magical computer. My brain.
No, one will be in the first position, one will be three places from two. Right, and then after that, it will be the first.
So that would mean that there's one way to go. Not twice as many.
Oh, right,
Why would it be twice as many?
How many is
Because that's what you're here, right? You decrease the size of your classes, so you have twice as many
What did you find?
6.
So we did this 4.
So could you write out, we'll start at this end, because this is
8 ways.
So could you maybe write out like, start at 9, why, and show, how many ways there to make 9?
Okay.
With 9.
Question is,
Or
how
make
many
10
ways
is
do I have to make the
you
number
write out
1
one?
using a sum of 20?
Right.
Oh, okay.
You're gonna make 10.
This. How many ways?
Write out this one way.
Also,
How did you get 1 way? Put a 1
What is the
there.
one way?
No,
Just write down the euro. There are many more.
plus 1, that's it, right? How many ways? 1. That's right, 4.
Okay, just write out the stuff, the ways and stuff.
there's only one way, yeah, there's only one
Okay, so now see what else you can fill in.
two there.
That is totally different thing. It's not saying at the young age, actually, because I start working.
So what's your next plan? Are you organizing years?
Two is in front there, one time.
What's this? How many numbers?
Okay, so how do you make 5?
You were month, but.
Oh, okay.
So you can one way to make
You have to verify?
is
I'm gonna verify in a minute.
So you're supposed to create how many numbers?
So from 9 plus 1.
Sure.
How do you just exhaust them all over there?
And then one was the 2 here, one was the 2. Right, so there was 3. Yeah.
To explain to me how you got all the options.
1, 2 ways there. One.
What happened here?
We're almost done solving this problem, actually.
Okay, but how do you know
That's on the paper.
Right. So, which number was that?
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Start with something nice small number, like say,
We didn't throw
and I want to find all the different ways to make this age. And I said there's 4 ways. You see the list up there? 3, 2 plus 1, 1 plus 2, and 1 plus 1 plus 2.
Okay, so 9 was just.
We have rules. No counts. What other ways can you make 3? I want to, okay, that's not allowed. 0 is not allowed.
So you've got 2.
So those 4 ways are the ways. So the question is, how many ways are there for spin?
Right, you can see that, so the 9 is down to 8.
And so people try a lot of strategies. But it's a very big list. So maybe the first one is you're not going to interrupt everybody in 1 minute anyways. Spend a minute just thinking about all the ways. So whatever strategy you can think of to help you find how many ways. I don't need a list of all the ways necessarily, but I need to know how many. Okay. I think some people got this, and they've been working on it now.
Okay, so show me 8 plus 2. How does that turn out?
There you go. You're getting close. Okay, so let me interrupt for a second. So first of all, here I have a couple of different ways of organizing and different ways of thinking about it suggested for you. So this might be helpful in finding different strategies for solving this problem. I think there's more than that. Okay. But, so the way that we're working on up here is the way on the front of this handout. But let's just fill in this chart together a little bit and see the pattern and explain this pattern. And on the back of the handout, it also asks about using the how many parts way. And you can make a chart of those and see what's going on. And it asks about using the biggest part way, which I think is the hardest way to organize them. And I'm not sure I really understand that way that well yet, but I'm getting there. Okay, so let's work on this one though. If I'm making 1, I see there's one way that starts with 1, and there's no other ways. If I'm making 2, I see there's one way that starts with 1 and one way that starts with 2. That's 1 of each. If I'm making 3, how many ways start with 1? 2 ways start with 1. 2 ways start with 1. How many ways start with 2? 1. How many ways start with 3?
1.
I'm kind of seeing some patterns here. Let's think about 5 a little bit. I have 4 listed enough times. How about if I'm making 5? Suppose I want to start with 1. What can I put? What can I put? 1 plus 4. What else can I put after the 1? Yes?
3 plus 1.
3 plus 1. Good idea. What else can I put after the 1? Yes?
1 plus 3.
1 plus 3. What else can I put after the 1?
3 plus 1 plus 1.
Okay, I'm going to put that down here though. What else could I do? Well, if I start with 1 and I'm making 5, what do I need to put for the stuff? Yeah. Oh, 1 plus 2 plus 2. Wait, 1 plus 2 plus 2. I'll put that here. Okay. What do I need? If I start with 1 and I'm making 5, I need 4 more, right? And look what I have here. 4, 3 plus 1, 1 plus 3, 2 plus 2, 2 plus 1 plus 1, 1 plus 2 plus 1, 1 plus 1 plus 2. But I know how many ways there are going to be. How many ways there are going to be to start with 1 here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I didn't even really need to count 8, did I? How did I already know it was going to be 8 from stuff we already did before? Yeah.
Just tell me there weren't 4.
Yeah, because if I need to make 4, there's 8 ways to make 4. That's this total of 8 ways right here. There's 8 ways to make 4. So if I do 5, it's 1 plus, and then for the rest of it, I could write any of those 8 things, any of these same 8 things. So this is going to be 8 ways. How about if I'm making 5, and I start with a 2 plus something? 2 plus... 2 plus how much is 5? 3. So what are my choices for what I could put after the 2? Can you find them up here anywhere? What can I put after the 2 if I want to end up with a total of 5? Two plus how much is 5? Does anybody know? 3. So whatever I put after the 2, it has to be 3 more somehow, right? So how many different choices do I have for how to make my 3 more? I have 4 choices. I could do this, or this, or this, or this. So this same total of 4 ways tells me that there's 4 that goes there. Is this making sense? So then what's next? If I do 5 starting with 3, what do I need? I need 2 more, but there's 2 ways to make 2, and there's 1 way to make 1. So there's 2 ways to make 2. So if I do 5, if I'm making 5, and I do 3 plus, I have to do 1 of those ways of making 2. There's 2 ways to make 2, so there's 2 ways to make 5. I start with a 3. What if I start with 4? What do I need? 1. There's 1 way to do that. What if I start with 5? 1. There's 1 way to make nothing, and you're looking at it right here. It's the blank board. It's not 0, because 0 is not allowed, but blank space is allowed, right? I add just 5. Not plus 0, but plus nothing. Nothing and 0 are different, right? 5 plus nothing looks like that. 5 plus 0 looks like that. Okay? Yeah. All right.
Big difference.
Yeah, there's a big difference, right? Because in the game we're playing here, 5 plus 0 is not allowed, but 5 is allowed. So I think maybe you're seeing a lot of patterns now here, right? What's the total here? 8 plus, well, wait a minute. These numbers are the same, right? That's kind of interesting. So we already know what these numbers add up to. What do these numbers add up to? Because they're the same as we had before. These add up to 8, plus I have 8 more in front, makes 16. So I think you have enough information now that you can figure out how many ways to make 10. And maybe even convince other people that your answer was right. But I think we're out of time, so I'll have to stop now. But if you want to stick around and talk some, we're still here. Yes?
I don't know how many ways to make 10.
How many ways do you think are going to make 10?
512.
You think 512. What do other people think about 512?
I think 500.
You also think 512? Yes?
I think 500.
Yes? Yeah? And we all know how math works, right? If everybody votes for 512, then it's correct.
Then I vote for 418 and everybody else does too.
Uh-oh. Maybe that's not really how math works. But maybe using this idea, you can explain why 512 is correct. Or maybe using some other idea too. Okay, so anyway, anyone who wants to stick around and talk more about this is welcome to, but it's time to take our break now. There's lots of good activities down the hallway here that are going on. If you haven't already visited all of those, there's a lot of different things to do there. Sure, thanks for coming.